strong he was. One of the men said that the guy was very strong, but they objected to him that the opponents were taken by surprise. The blonde man with glasses interrupted the conversation because they still needed to discuss their sheep. The men sat at a large table and discussed punishment for the offenders. But they did not know what to do with the unknown, since it was not part of their area of responsibility. The blonde replied that the situation would soon appear on the internet and they should take action as quickly as possible. He also tiredly closed his eyes and promised to deal with the problem person. Seeing the news on the internet, the Japanese fighter watched and read the news and promised to challenge this baton. The fighter from South Korea also promised to challenge and avenge his loss. At this time, the main character flew back to America and was already waiting to meet Kathleen. He was already imagining meeting the girl and remembered that she promised him a massage. Unfortunately, the streamer did not see the girl at the airport, but received a message from her that she would not be able to come. Soon Batten reached the house and found that the door to the apartment was open. The student was already prepared to attack the thieves and stood in a fighting pose. But a girl was waiting for him in the kitchen in an apron, who prepared him a meal. Batten was happy about this surprise, but asked Kathleen how she entered the house. The girl winked at him and said that she could open any door. The main character enjoyed imagining how they would spend time together. But his thoughts were abruptly interrupted by a menacing scream and a powerful slap in the face. The guy's mother, Kate, who opened the door to his girlfriend, stood angrily. Kathleen called the woman affectionately and asked her to change her anger to mercy. But the woman did not calm down. She grabbed the student by the ear and ordered him not to make a fuss anymore, as her heart might not stand it. Later, she released her son because she did not want to disgrace him in front of her daughter-in-law. Kate calmed down and said that she had done everything she wanted, and it was time for her to go. The young people asked Mother to stay for a while and eat with them. But she was already standing at the door and almost left, giving a sly wink to the lovers. The students were embarrassed by this gesture, and soon Batten decided to go wash. Kathleen pushed him towards the bathroom as he didn't want to leave. When the guy hit the corner, the girl laughed at her lover. While the main character was taking a shower, a girl suddenly entered the bathroom and wanted to treat his wounds. Because of this, the streamer was incredibly embarrassed and blushed heavily in front of her eyes. He joked with Kathleen if she really wanted to look at him naked. In response to this, she slammed the door in embarrassment and ran off to prepare soup. At this time, Batten was lamenting that he had said something stupid and embarrassed the girl. When he came out of the bath, the girl met him with ready-made food. Still, they saw a wound on my arm and decided to help change the bandage. Meng was very embarrassed. He liked that the girl was taking care of him. Kathleen laughed at him as he had previously pressed for pity on the phone. The girl applied ointment to her hand, and Batten was glad that she came to him. Suddenly, the man was distracted by a phone call and went away to talk about work. Over the phone, the editor confirmed his readiness to work and made an appointment at 3 o'clock. The beauty knew that her young man would definitely succeed. Immediately, the streamer became embarrassed by the praise and invited Kathleen to the table. Soon, Batten found himself in the studio discussing the upcoming chapters of the manga with his colleagues. After reading the drafts, the men were delighted and praised the work. The man with lilac hair was worried that the Japanese side would make claims. The main character assured the publisher that he had fixed the situation in Japan and had not signed any agreement. He was completely confident in his words and also decided to take a sip of water. He allowed the studio to take all rights to the manga, but retained some rights for himself and the Japanese side. The same man with lilac hair ran away from the author, saying that if he transferred the rights to them, it would be the right decision. The streamer replied to the editor that in terms of money he is losing some, but for him this is not the most important thing. The men whispered behind his back they were surprised because the writer does not need money. The editor suggested leaving Baton with the right to video adaptation and giving all other rights to them, since they could give the best conditions. The main character happily agreed and thought to himself that his plan had worked. People in office clothes also asked him about the rights to the anime. The guy answered the editor that he would enter into a contract with the Jiangtan publishing house, because he believes that Japan makes anime better, and that through cooperation with them, America will gain useful experience. After some quick deliberation, the men agreed with the mangaka. The editor thought that a talented person thinks not only about his wallet, but also about his development. Batten thanked the men and said that he would use every opportunity. They shook hands and agreed to sign a tripartite agreement. The next day, they met with representatives of Jiangtan Publishing House. The head of the magazine told those present that he was not ready to send so many changes to print. The guy's former editor thought to himself that an author could be super productive if he wanted to. But he was surprised when he heard from the student that he was only willing to release 2 updates a week. The guy assured everyone that he was ready to promise quality and corrections if they were needed. He also suggested that if everything is fine with the quality, then he will continue to print the comic. The publishing house agreed to the terms. We'll discuss everything. They shook hands. Everyone left the office joyfully and gathered to celebrate the agreement with delicious food, when suddenly the main character's phone rang loudly with Robin on the other end. The streamer picked up the phone, and the seventh brother told him about the upcoming battle. The guy was shocked, because fighters from Korea and Japan wanted to organize a fight and pay well. He also spoke with dissatisfaction on the phone. He had plans, and he did not want to fight. Robin and Tyler discussed their client's refusal to participate in the battle. Because of Tyler's joke, Robin got angry and abruptly pulled him upstairs. The seventh brother was worried that he was suspended from the competition and was forced to bother Batten. The dark-skinned man assured that the student could refuse, since he was not on their team. After the flight to Japan, the main character was all business, and after signing the contract, the hassle became even greater. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the student drew manga and did other work before the official publication. Batten also did voice acting, and the voice of the star participated in the show. The main character became very popular after the show, and his name was in the top searches on the internet. The seventh brother also watched the show and rejoiced at the success of his ward. The dark-skinned man reminded the seventh brother of how he used to treat Batten, when suddenly Robin exclaimed at what he had just seen on his phone. Then he showed Tyler the information on his smartphone and said that they were completely crazy. On the screen was a promotional video for the competition in Macau, and below was a list of participants. The dark-skinned man was shocked when he saw their loaf on the list. Robin grabbed his phone and started calling to find out why his brother-in-law was on the list. He furiously asked the reason for the appearance of the main character's name in the battle lists. The dark-skinned man was very nervous from the conversation he heard his brother swearing. The seventh brother said that the organizers want to attract more attention and publicity. The brother cursed and found out what else the organizers had come up with to attract the student. Brother scolded Lin Jundao and said that with such dirty tricks, they would only alienate people. As a result, the man angrily disconnected the call and almost broke the phone. Tyler reassured his brother, although he was worried that Batten would soon find out everything. Robin thought that if Batten refused, America would be disgraced. The seventh brother decided that he would nominate himself instead of his brother-in-law. In the evening, along the embankment, the streamer performed a task where he had to run 1,500 kilometers. The guy was also happy as his endurance levels improved. When the man finished his run, he began to cool down after running, but the people behind him started whispering and pointing at him. Then they wanted to take a photo. One girl immediately approached Batten and asked him to take a photo. And then immediately a lot of people rushed at him, wanting to take pictures. People called the guy the Iron God and wished him good luck in the upcoming battle. The streamer did not understand what they were talking about until he was told that he was taking part in the battle. He said goodbye to the fans and said that he needed to rest. Already at home, Batten opened the news where they conveyed information about him. He saw that he was included in the list of participants. The guy was very angry. There was Juan Liuya, a professional fighter. No American fighter had ever been able to defeat him. Fujito, a Japanese fighter who declared war on American fighters. And our hero, an art academy student, mangaka, voice actor, defeated fighters at a competition in Japan. Batten considered them scoundrels because thanks to the hype, they forced him to fight. If he accepts the challenge, they will get what they want. And if he doesn't, he will disgrace America. A notice flashed before the student's eyes that he had become a news hero. Loaf tiredly fell onto the bed and thought about what he would do next. He decided that since he was involved, he would show everyone what he was like. The white-haired man turned to his colleague and talked about how the fighter called Baton a coward. He asked the boss if they would really let such an insult pass. James soon reassured Lin and said that it would not harm them at all. Lin argued that they needed to react so that the fighting in America could develop. James said that Lin is too young and does not understand the main idea, which is to conquer the market. Lin objected because Baton was not a member and was not affiliated with them. James said that for him, the main thing is business. Nothing else matters. Regardless of whether Batten agrees, people will still watch and buy tickets. The blonde's brother called, but the boss said that they could invite him and other American fighters. Robin screamed loudly and swore, and also blamed the organizers for everything. Soon the man was surrounded by soldiers and asked how the conversation ended. It turned out that they were offered to participate in competitions and sign a contract. Despite the disqualification, he decided to accept the fight and sign the contract. Other fighters joined him. They said that their honor was at stake. A fighter nicknamed the Amur Tiger is ready to take on the most arrogant opponent. The Amur Tiger told the participants that he would provide additional rewards for those who joined them. The seventh brother was asked why the Amur Tiger signed a contract with the UFC, because they are equal in strength. The blonde got angry and said that first they would solve this issue, and then all the others. The man turned his head when there was a knock on the door, and his sister was on the threshold. They apologized for disturbing the participants, and Tyler said that he could not stop her. Batten sent her and told them not to interfere in his affairs. He would sort everything out himself. All the participants asked the girl at once where Batten himself had gone. Meanwhile, Batten walked through the South Korean airport wearing sunglasses and then took a selfie. The participants were shocked that Batten ended up in South Korea. Robin told his sister that her boyfriend would definitely get into something, but she assured him that everything would be okay. Kathleen said that the main character will definitely keep his promise. Suddenly, Robin decided to go to Korea too, but his sister warned that Batten